What's up, guys? It's your boy GRC. Crypto in the Morning, live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. And tonight, I'll be on at 6 p.m. Eastern with Jack Levin again. He wants number 2. He wants to talk about longevity, and I never get a chance to speak my mind. And you know me, I tell the truth, so I'm not a longevity expert, but I do a lot of things right, but I do some things very wrong. That's for damn certain. So we're going to be talking about longevity, how to stay alive longer, how to live better every single day. Because at the end of the day, you got about 10 hours during the day. If you're anything like me or Sam, you got to poop, you got to eat. There's a couple hours that you're going to have to do some stuff, drive around. And then you got about 10 hours. Would you rather be enlightfully happy and blissful during those 10 hours while you work and are productive? Or would you rather be angry at everyone, wishing your relationships were better and dying from the inside out, like most people in this world? And that happens to me all the time, by the way. You know, like I go through phases too, but I know how to snap out of them, and I have good support networks, and I have people that I talk to, and I'm very honest with people. I'm very, very honest. So I don't know why I got into all that, but that's a little segue for our 6 p.m. show with Jack. That's going to be a banger. Today, GRC needs to know more about providing liquidity because he's got ETH, he's got Hex. He's like, what? It's just sitting there. Like, just sitting there. You know what I mean? I don't care if I have more ETH or more Hex. As you can see, ETH's at what, $1,800 or some shit right now? Up 130% on the weekly or something crazy. Maybe up 100% on the weekly. I got to look at that. I didn't really look. But you know what I mean? Those are huge gains. Fake out pump. Everyone knows it. I'm not going to be the guy that's like, everyone thinks we're going to the moon. At this point, no one thinks we're going to the moon. Maybe that's something that means something. I'm just joking, guys. You know, I like to get everyone jacked up. Crypto in the Morning. I have a new button to press. And you know, when GRC has a new button to press, he's always super happy. But I have to press 2 buttons, Sam, because I am a professional, okay? There's 2 buttons that I have to press. One, I'm going to play real quick, guys. Do you like golf? Do you like Vegas? Do you like crypto? Do you like girls washing your balls?
Where will you be on September 5th, 2022? Do not miss your chance to participate in the Pulse Masters Golf Tournament. This is the official kickoff to PulseCon, and the Hex ladies need you to help get it in the hole. With any size donation, we will be willing and waiting to wash all of your dirty balls. The tournament takes place at the renowned Revere Golf Club with 2 shotgun start times. 7 a.m. best ball for you early dirty birds, and 1:30 p.m. scramble, sure to be an afternoon delight. So please consider donating to ensure your balls will be washed at our hole, and maybe you'll get your shaft shined as well. Visit ksb.tv/golf to donate and for more info on sponsorship levels, contests, and prizes.
Biceps in the chat for bullish, guys. All the girls in my life that maybe watch this show, I have nothing to do with all of these things. I really don't. Ask Sam. I just work here. Okay? Great video, though. Bullish needs biceps. He's done a lot of work in the background. I'm going to play some more of his work while we transition Sam in, guys. Please, I need biceps for bullish.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some Hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some Maxi and that's just in case. Jim ready sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
Yo. I'm excited to talk about providing liquidity. I just actually came back from the gym before we came on to give
We can
people
talk about a lot of stuff today, but that's going to be our crypto
main thing. Before we came on, we were talking about rats. And while you were doing the monologue, I actually looked this up in terms of what cities.
This is a good one. Hey guys, Sam, don't tell them my ideas about all this stuff as it comes to crypto, but just talk about the funny facts, because Jim Rat Crypto always has funny ideas in the background.
America, 50 most rat infested cities. Let me know.
Sam, if you had to guess if you were just going off the top here and somebody had asked you this question on the streets or something, where would your go-to cities be in the States?
For the top couple ones, New York City would be number one for me because I lived in New York City, and
it's an asshole.
Yeah, it's complete shithole.
It's actually a cesspool of disgustingness.
There's a certain day, depending on what borough you're in and where you are in the city, where it's trash day. Like if you're in Manhattan and it's trash day, there will literally be piles of trash bags that are taller than like a giant van. You know those 12-seater vans? There'll be trash bags that are bigger than that sitting out by the curb, and there's a shitload of rats around there. But then even if you're just taking the subway, you look down at the tracks or even on the platform, there is rats. So my number one place I would say would be New York City. Honolulu, I used to live in Hawaii, has a boatload of rats too. Surprisingly,
is it gross down there? Or is there just lots of rats?
It's beautiful, but there's a lot of like tourists who just leave a lot of trash around, and then rats and mice.
Oh yeah,
they cockroaches.
Do they burn trash out there at all?
I don't know. Maybe
some places burn trash when they're tropical because it's just like whatever. But anyway,
Los Angeles.
I would say when I think of S-holes, like S-hole cities. What's the first thing that comes to my mind? Los Angeles. The biggest. No, seriously, I swear. Dude, what's the most hardcore prison in history? LA County Jail. Why? Because the craziest, worst, most insane meth heads live there on the street and they're homeless.
Well, plus you also have the city that's run by like incompetent people. I would say Chicago's probably pretty far up there too. Chicago, because you have to consider places that are probably like shitholes, but also at the same time, like what becomes a shithole is the poor leadership a lot of times. I use the term
you can
very,
tell
very
a city's quality in direct proportion to their jails. No, I'm not kidding. I just watch a lot of jail footage because I'm sorry, I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, you've told me that.
I watch a lot of jail shit because GRC wants to stay out of jail, and he knows that when you watch people getting booty bandited in jail, it makes GRC not want to go to jail, and then GRC follows the rules.
I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm from upstate New York, not Syracuse, but I'm from Rochester.
Where's B-more? Let's go top 10. I want to know top 10.
Top 10. Whoops, I think I just skipped.
Let's see if my faithful city can get on one list in this world other than murder rate.
Okay, so this is Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Denver, Colorado.
Wouldn't have expected the Denver, but I don't know anything about Denver.
I would expect Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's a shithole. That's where people get shot for all the gang violence. Detroit and Chicago. Chicago's got to be on here. Philadelphia is the biggest asshole ever.
Yeah, Chicago's definitely on here. Chicago has to be on here. I've spent time in Chicago a little bit, and it was Baltimore. Look at that.
There's
my hometown.
Guys, Club Rats NFTs. Biceps in the chat if you want to see Baltimore Club Rats NFTs. You think they can save Texas? How about we save something that actually needs saving? Baltimore, the absolute S-hole murder capital of this world. And it's not. I'm not saying that there's no beautiful parts, and obviously there's beautiful parts in Baltimore, guys. Don't get it twisted either. When we're talking about a city, we're talking about the worst parts of the city. Like I go out in Baltimore all the time, beautiful. But yeah, if you have a $200,000 chain on, you will get robbed. Like if Richard walked through Baltimore end to end, Fells Point, like the chance at 11 p.m. chance of getting not robbed are 0%. You know what I mean? So it's just like a different atmosphere. If you know what I mean, like I would wear a sweat, like if I'm wearing like a black T-shirt in shit clothes. Like nobody gives a shit. But that's how everyone dresses in Baltimore too. There's not a lot of clout chasey dressing in Baltimore because it's a direct signal that you are like, I mean, you could dress like a bro with like muscles and like look good at the bar, but you're not going to throw on anything unless you're in a gang or something.
I actually saw a lot more homeless people in downtown Honolulu or in Hawaii in general than I did in New York City. But you think about that, it's much easier to be homeless in probably Hawaii, where you can get fruit and tourists leave shit behind all the time that you could eat or make places to live, and it's just hot out, right? Like who gives a shit? Versus it gets down to 0 degrees in the winter and you got to like stay warm in New York City. But Hawaii felt far fucking safer. Not that I ever felt not safe in New York City, but you know, some parts of New York City are sketch.
You would know how to feel unsafe in New York City. Like you could make yourself feel unsafe in New York City if you went to the right. If you brought your Tesla to the worst part of town and just sat there, you'd be scared shitless. You'd be like, oh, I'm going to have to physically get assaulted here. Like, so again, I don't want to talk ass on cities, but an ethos and something that we're in the bear market, San Francisco, another DC. Yeah. Hey, both of my spots are on the top 10 rat list, guys. Yeah. You know, I'm close to DC, guys. I'm like 25 minutes out from DC, about 5 minutes.
Look at that. New York City, top 3. I was expecting top 1, but we still haven't seen LA yet. There we go.
No Texas love for the rats.
No.
Oh, yeah, LA, baby. LA, baby. Florida. Come on. What was the first? Chicago! Murder capital of the United States, official from Jim Rat Crypto, because I look at all the videos and they all come from Chicago now. So all the other gun violence stopped, but Chicago's gun violence has gone through the roof. Living in Chicago, if you are successful, is something that you do not do. You do not live in Chicago once you become successful. You leave Chicago. And every successful person that I know would say that's from that area. I know, maybe not a younger guy, but like eventually, like if you got kids, like get out of there. Bye-bye. Same with Baltimore. You got kids in Baltimore running around?
I would get out of Chicago or
that's funny that we could totally, without me and Sam don't care about any of this shit, by the way. In general, it's a fun conversation, but it's funny. We basically guessed the top 10 without even trying. And it's because the dense cities are so electrically, violently gross. Like they're so bad. It's like worse and worse and worse. And when I say that, it's like, if there's 75 homeless people around and they're all begging for money and on heroin, that's bad. That is not a good indicator. It's a bad indicator. In every city, come on, dude. I'll have a dude scrubbing my thing, 8 homeless people, couple guys on the corner just hanging out, and it's their world, not yours down there. It's their world. And yeah, they can get arrested and shit, but I'm just saying, like, the reason I don't hang out in the city a lot is because there's too many variables. There's too many what ifs. There's too many positions that I can be put in that I would feel like I had no control. But we're done with that shit.
We're done with that. That's we're over. That's
biceps in the chat because whatever.
I'm getting kind of lean. Okay, so
your arms are looking small. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, I'm down.
No, I know you're down. You at some point you're gonna have to lose a little size. You go, yeah. You're just starting to lose size. You just got into that size losing spot, but it took you about 30 pounds. Most people would be like, you can't lose 2 pounds.
Correct. Oh, and I'm substantially leaner. There's a lot of feathering in my quads.
What do you like or dislike about the feeling of being this way versus when we were speaking maybe 90 days ago, 100 days ago?
So this is in regards to like kind of like the crypto fitness challenge.
Just the way you walk around though, more so like, does your body like weight on its frame or does it like a little less?
So you got 2 things, right? Like I feel awesome. I like the way I look at this size, but it's also nice to just be bigger. Like being 250 pounds. Do you think
that you have some sort of mental illness?
100%. 100%.
I never asked you that question. I don't think I've ever asked you that question in the bodybuilding world. That's a normal question, guys. Like that's not like an off-ball question because we've all dealt with that in our youth. We were all like substantially infected by something with the size. Like either it doesn't matter if you're 6'8" or 5'1", somebody bigger than you looked at you and said you're a little shit. And at that moment you felt powerless in your life or whatever it is. It usually happens like that, or sports or something. And then you turn into this body dysmorphia. Because I would tell you, like, I have to ask my girl sometimes if I'm walking around, I'm like, do I look like healthy? Because I know that I don't know about myself.
Well,
So
that's what I mean about like feeling light or heavy, right? So going from 250, I'm down around 230.
Sorry, I just stole that.
No, I'm below 230 now, right? So I've dropped below, like, probably when I weigh in on Friday, probably goes to 20 pounds in less than 90 days. Okay. So in my mind, I'm small, but when I'm out in public, like, people are just like, oh, this dude's fucking jacked. Yeah, exactly. This dude like has a shitload of muscle. But in my mind, it's like, damn, I'm small, right? And you notice it when you like take pictures with friends and you realize that you're like just a lot bigger than them. But it's the same thing. Like, mentally, you feel small. But and then I have to remind myself to put it into perspective, right? To recognize that, because otherwise there's something. What is it called? Big morphia or body
dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia, and in the bodybuilding world, right? We hear about it with women or like people who
I used to have it so bad. Like, God, it was so bad. Like, I was 180 pounds with muscles literally ripping out of my back, my lower back, starting to come out my obliques. And I was just like, I'm a skinny guy. Like, I'm a little guy. Like, just the same thoughts I had when I was in middle school, like, it's literally like I'm doing the same thing.
And you're 180 pounds, right? You gained 30
But at
pounds.
that time I was probably 72. Like, like I was a kid. Like, I was just a little, like, I didn't hit puberty till real late. So I was a little twerp when I had all these things in my head. And I didn't know shit about working out, but I just started working out. But I was always aggressive and I could always beat the piss out of it. Like I was strong and I could just fight people and I was a little mean. So like I had capability in myself, but I was like, I'm going to be small forever. You know what I mean? Like, this is something I have no control over. And in that moment, it's the no control thing. I was like, oh shit, my mom's short too. Like, I'm probably just going to be short as fuck and I'm going to get my ass beat. But when you're a kid, you think about stuff like that because you're like, it's like a security thing. You don't know what the life is all about yet. So I felt scared and I was like, I want people to see me to think that I can rip their head off. And that's not true for all people. There's many people will look at me and rip my head off. If I was in front of Sam, like, let's fucking go, like, it'd be like a 1 in 100 that I could probably fucking kill him. Like, I'd have to get him in some fucking crazy triangle.
If anybody, I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but my siblings used to fight in MMA, mixed martial arts. And there's a movie, it used to be on Netflix, called The Hammer. And my brother is the main nemesis in the movie, wow. like the bad guy in the movie. And
that's dope.
It follows the life of kind of like this deaf fighter that was in that show that used to be on Spike TV. I don't know what it was called, The Ultimate Fighter or something like that, before UFC kind of like really exploded.
Yeah, that shit was great.
Yeah, and it used to be on there. But
anyway, guys, and I don't feel this way anymore, by the way. So I want everyone to know, like, when I look in the mirror this morning, I saw a guy that was 168 pounds. I didn't give a shit. And I don't care. And I don't eat as well. If I was rich, I would care a lot more. I promise.
But you should start.
I'm trying to get some work shit figured. Well, compared to most people, it's negligible, the things I do incorrectly. You know what I mean? So it's like, do I want to double down on my macronutrients? Yes, of course I do, and I should. But in my mind, like, I only have so much mental energy to, like, when I do something, I kind of just do it the whole way. And it's like, I have to, like, I'm like, okay, if I start counting my macronutrient intake again, then yes, it would be beneficial in every single way, probably every single way. But right now, I just haven't been focusing on it because my body's just been looking so ridiculously ripped, to be honest. Like, and I want to be honest about this too. It's like, when you look in the mirror, and Sam might not have the same feeling. This is just me. So when I look in the mirror, I'm like, dude, I could keep my body like this without doing anything. And I've never had that feeling before in the past because this is new to me. I'm like, I don't have to do anything anymore. I was like, almost like my whole life was like trying really hard to be like impressively ripped. And now I don't even have to try. And it almost like killed the, you know what I mean? Like the beast.
So always, that's why I always focus on goals. I always focus on goals. It doesn't matter like how.
What's a good goal for me right now?
Something that you want. right? Because I can't give that to
I
you.
know, but like, what are some goals for you that have like broke you through some bullshit that you were just like some fun, like little milestones that you maybe got through on some shit when you were just feeling
Like
bored?
the first goal that I set kind of like fitness wise when I was like 14 or 15 years old, and it was like, I want to be 225 pounds and I want to be ripped. And it took me fucking a decade and a half to get there.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing. I said, I remember this fitness coach telling me, it was actually Myron Gaines. So he's the fresh and fit guy. So back in the day, Myron Gaines was my personal trainer. And this was before he did all his YouTube stuff. And I told him I want to be 175 pounds and ripped, like ripped. And he told me, and he was right. Now, I was natural 100% back then. So at the time, he was probably right. He was like, I don't think 175 for you long term is realistic. I was about 150 at the time, 152. And at that point, I was like, well, I need to take matters into my own hands, of course, and figure out the truth about fitness if I wanted to reach that goal. Now, 4 years later, I reached that goal. You know what I mean? And now I need there's so many goals that you've done in your business life, Sam, that I haven't, that it's like also like, I know that you do business all the time, but like still, you've been doing that for a long time. It's so new to me that I'm so like this, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like as the months come by and my blood pressure or whatever like calms down about this subject in particular, and I can just kind of rotate it into my life. Right now, I still get the butterflies. I need the butterflies to go away because it makes me too excited.
You know, when you get through, so there's like, you know, novelty or like the excitedness about having something new, where you are excited about doing something. Think about January for everybody when they're like, okay, I'm doing my resolutions. So they'll write down their goals for their health and maybe their relationships and their mental, right, as well as financial, right, in January. And then, you know, 4 days later, they don't remember that. Well, if you think about that, right, we change every single day. So that's why you're not the same fucking person you were 5 years ago. It's same for me, right? But that process to change from where you are for 5 years ago to where you are today happens one day at a time. So what I like to do to stay focused, right? Because there's complacency in all areas of life. And I think of it as like the gravity
How do you
of life.
deal with that? Because I don't care who you are, and I know you're crazy, but how do you deal with it? So if you go and you don't feel like talking to those times where you don't feel like talking to your girl, and it's just an example. Let's not say the girl thing, because that maybe you don't feel like doing bank stuff or like calling someone, or like you get lazy on one of those things that you have on your checklist that you know you have to get off. How do you kind of break through some of that? Because I struggle with that a lot.
You know, that goal thing, writing it down at the January, and then 3 weeks later, people don't remember. I write my goal. So write them down every day, every single day, writing down, not just my to-do list, my to-do list. So this worked for me. Maybe it doesn't work for other people. So this is like my to-do list, which is like, you know, this is like half a page and then double up here. But if you look at this is the goals, right? This is a page and a half of
my God, Sam,
goals.
I know what I got to do now.
And what does that do?
My goals list.
When you go through and you write, and it's just free flowing. Don't like hold yourself back. If you like, bro, if you want a jet, right, and you want to, you know, be making $1 billion
Joe
a day
Rogan on UFC. Remember?
So writing all this shit down every day refocuses your mind, which then when you focus on the goal, we focus on the end thing. The process of doing the bullshit every day is easy, because then the process of knocking out the minutia, the details of like not making that call, not doing the paperwork, this, that, and other thing is easy, because I know the thing that I'm focusing on is the goal. When I'm focusing on this, I know that these are just fucking minutia steps to get to where I'm going. So I like to, if I ever feel some sort of way, I love to just take the time and pull out my notepad, write down my goals.
One thing that I've never struggled with, which I'm grateful for, is I've never had a hard time thinking big, because my perspective on other people is very low. Like, I think everyone's controlled by their emotions for the most part. therefore completely fogging them from the reality of what's going on in front of them. Like, for example, and yeah, it does make me a little dead inside sometimes, like when I'm arguing with my girl or something or talking, you know, it's just be like, sometimes I just get like, I don't want to talk about shit. Like, everything we're saying is just like conjecture about nothing. And, you know, you just have to, I know it's up to me to be like I have trouble just getting emotional feedback from people because I don't even want it. I don't even care about it anymore. You know, like and that can be a problem too, you think, Sam? Like when you're with your girl and talking and shit, and you know that feeling you get when you just don't want to be, you just want to be at your computer. You know what I mean? Do you ever get that feeling where you just want to be at your computer? You're not mad at her. You're not mad at nobody, but she has emotions too, right? So you have to be like, if she's in a bad place, what if she's in like a bad place about shit?
So it depends on the context of the situation, obviously matters. So I'm going to be picking her up from the airport, and she works in a different area. So when I come back, when I pick her up from the airport, I know that like she wants to, even though I might not give a shit really about like that kind of stuff, I know that she's super excited to tell me about her like work experience over the last several days since I've seen her, the friends that she's talked to, all the things that have happened to her. So I might not really care about it, but I know that she wants to feel that I'm there and present and engaged.
Yeah, that takes some nuance. That part of relationships takes a little nuanced learning there.
It's practice, but
it's been hard for me, man. But it's been hard for me because my girl has feelings about shit. And I am very nice and respectful to people. So it's not like I'm a bad person. So you got to understand everything that I do with people, I'm generally doing the decent or best thing I can. You know, try to be nice, try to try to be helpful. I always try to do stuff like that. But then they have these emotions that I don't necessarily care nor think about ever. Like, you know, ever. Like I never think about my feelings towards what the other person's thinking about me during the day, or like, well, you know, I just don't think about stuff like that sometimes. And I have a hard time caring when I'm doing the right thing. Like, you know, like sometimes I feel like I'm doing the right thing. I'm being a good guy. And there was so much time in my life where I wasn't doing that I'm like that. All my boxes are checked. You know what I mean?
But what do you, because we get to define what is doing the right thing.
Just lying. I just not lying no more.
So now you can go through and figure out what is the right thing to, because when I do this, right, when I'm writing this down, today was a page and a half, but some days it's literally like 4 pages worth of goals, because I'm focusing on not just like the financial things that I want, but also the relationships. So with friends, with family, but also with my girlfriend. How do I want that to be? What type of leader do I want to be in my life in terms of like the mental side of things, right? And then also the physical things. So those are the 4 areas that I always write things down. So when you're writing down your goals, what type of relationship do you want to be? What type of a leader do you want to be? And then describing that vision for who you are, then it focuses your mind so that during those circumstances where you're like, hey, you're trying to get work done and she's talking to you, you know what I mean? You can turn to her and be like, hey, baby, come on over here, sit down for a second. Can I tell you something? I have this to do. I'm going to be done with this in 20 minutes. I'd love to have this conversation with you. And I don't feel like I'm giving you the like the urgency or the being present and purposeful in our conversation, because I'm trying to focus on this thing. Can we okay having this conversation in 20 minutes when I finish this up? And she's gonna be, wow, that's super thoughtful. Like, or that's actually a better way of having the conversation than me talking to you when you're trying to do something else. And I tell my girlfriend that all the time, like, that fucking babe, I'm gonna be busy for the next 6 hours. Like, whatever the fuck you need to do. I don't know what you want to do.
Relationships are tricky, but it's one of those things you don't have to like. It doesn't take any. It just takes effort throughout the day. It doesn't really take like any like outstanding effort. It just takes like little efforts, right? Like it's like little efforts. Relationships just is like a bunch of little efforts. Like you don't. It's not a big like, oh, I love you so much right now and that's forever and that's it. None of that shit. That's all retarded and it's all the dumbest shit ever. If she starts acting wild, he's gonna leave her. If he starts acting wild, she's gonna leave him, probably. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a mutual contract of beneficial trust to 2 people. It's just and I do think of it too businessy sometimes too. It's like But again,
But
I'm
but
just a baby.
you and I, right? You trust me more today than you did 6 months ago,
Mhm.
right? Because you see me showing up every single day. We're having conversations, right? You understand that I don't
You're
fucking
not
want dick,
lying.
and I don't want dick from you. Like I'm not trying to get you to do anything for me. I couldn't care less. Like I want you to
Well,
win
it's
for
just
you.
it's more so just consistency in this. Like, I don't fuck with people that just say shit and then after a while they say different shit. You know what I mean? Like you've never done that. You've always said the same shit. So it was just like that's all I ever need from people. It's like just keep your shit straight. Like if you have an idea, make it an actual idea. Don't just if he says something, he means it, and he's always meant it. And if I say something, I truthfully mean it. It maybe be wrong, but it's because I actually have confidence in it. And yes, I trust you because you do the same thing every day.
As right, just if you put yourself 6 months ago, right, we knew each other, we were talking, but we didn't really know each other as well. We know each other 1,000 times better today than we did 6 months ago. But the same thing happens in that relationship because trust is time consuming to build and yet can be taken away very, very quickly, right? So
Yes.
That's how you can think about those tiny little steps. Those tiny little steps are building that journey, just like being financially free, right? It fucking takes time. It's not just like, oh, do this quick fix thing and you can fucking get a 6-pack or do this thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want it to be that way on either relationships or money. Like I like the journey part. Like I like fucking up. Like it makes it more spicy anyway.
Yes.
Like I'm not willing to experience something new, and that's what a lot of people are afraid of, right? Like a lot of people are afraid, like if they're put into a situation that they're afraid of the unknown. But I've been thrown into the unknown so many times at this point that I just don't care. I'm like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're gonna dump me? Oh, whoops, I did that 11 times already. Like, you wanted me to stop smoking weed or stop drinking? Yeah, I did that for 6 years. Like, it's not a big deal.
But the thing is, so there's this girl at the gym, right? And so she says hi as I'm leaving the other day. I'm going in there with my girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh, I broke up with my boyfriend, and he's doing the same thing the other 2 or 3 boyfriends I was with." And I was kind of like letting her talk to my girlfriend as I was like continuing to basically walk into the gym. And if somebody deals with the same problem over and over and over again, like a boyfriend or girlfriend dumping them, or not being financially successful, or not getting the results in the gym, or not moving forwards mentally, right? And the same mental shit fucking is in your life for year after year after year. Well, the problem is looking you back in the mirror every day, right? Like if she's having the same problem with dude after dude after dude, what's the actual fucking issue?
And that is another problem I have too, is I like aggressively work on myself. And then not everyone does that. And it's not really fair all the time because it's like I'm willing to learn and change and grow. And it's like sometimes I'm like the target for a lot because I'm loud. You know what I mean? I'm loud and I'll say what I want. So people are like, oh, he's the problem. He's the problem. I'm like, I'm the only one changing. You know what I mean? I'm the only one willing to switch up. I'm the only one that's willing to actually listen. You're the one who's not willing to change. You're the one whose ideas, and I'm not talking about girl. I'm talking about, I was thinking more family at the moment. Like in my head, I was thinking like, but it's not them particularly. Like, again, this is just like an overall theme. This is just the way that I relate with all people. And it's not necessarily good or bad. Like, this is just my life. Like, I've done a lot of shit dumb as hell. Dumb as hell. You know what I mean?
As this will be the last point that we can transition into.
Yeah, please. That was amazing. What a therapeutic morning rather than, dude, I'm telling you, that's the best part about having the everyday show is like, I don't have to feel bad about not sticking on subject because this is more powerful information than anyone shares on the internet. And I know when I get into that place in my heart that it's good to keep talking because people need to hear that stuff. They don't hear enough men talking about the reality of life. This is the reality.
Yes. So the last point on this is how I see things with whether it is family or friend relationships or girlfriend. And you mentioned learning, right? So like that personal growth and learning and moving towards my goals, those are things that are important to me, right? And so if there's somebody in my life, whether it's a family member, a friend, or even my girlfriend, I don't give a shit what the F they do. I'm going where I'm going. And that means that, say, if you and I are on a hike and you want to go at 2 miles an hour and I'm going at 8 miles an hour, well, you know what happens over time? We get further and further and further and further and further apart until you just don't see me anymore, which is perfectly fine with me. I still love you and care about you and want you to win at life however you want to fucking win at life. But that's how I see it with friends. That's how I see it with family members. That's how I see it with my girlfriend. She doesn't want to grow. She doesn't want to grow. I know where that plays out. I'm going to continue going where I'm going. And if you get left behind,
that's the one thing too. Is like,
is.
that is the one thing too. It's like I'm in that spot too. It's like everyone in my life, family included, girl, every person, they know I'm going to do exactly what the fuck I'm going to do no matter what. And I know that too. And it's not necessarily the best feature in the world, but it is a great feature. It's a great feature. It's a little psychopathic to be able to get stuff done like that, but it's what makes things great in this world. And it's way fun. It's way more fun to like be passionate about stuff while you're doing it in a world where, you know, I didn't think I would have the chance to be passionate about anything that I was value to my life other than like hobbies and shit. You know, like I just thought like, I'll be rock climbing and surfing. No. Like my whole life is going to be my work now. And I like that. I like that a lot. And like, go ahead.
I was going to transition a little bit. I wanted to ask you, you had mentioned that you were about to open up a liquidity position yesterday and you ran into some issues. You want to talk about what
I don't know if I was necessarily, I never had the plan to click the button at the end of it, I don't think, but I had all the funds in there and I wanted to see what sticking points that I would have personally with going through with it, because I'm going to provide a small liquidity position here shortly, just because, you know, that's the best shit ever. And when things are bare and you're learning, I like to provide liquidity. I'd like to learn about the nuance insights about these things because we're early and we're going to have to know what's going on here. 100%. And you're making a damn good amount of money in a bear market here with your $10,000 investment.
Yeah, I don't know why more people don't provide liquidity in all honesty.
Well, I think it's just new, Sam.
I completely agree. Okay, so
it's just new.
I'm going to just walk through kind of what you do.
Real quick, before you do that, just share the tweet. I did tweet it out, guys. I dropped the link below. I did not shill this at all this morning. Smash the like if you're in here. Hit the subscribe. Thank you for joining that beautiful conversation this morning with me and Sam. Let's get on to some providing liquidity. Hit that retweet button and biceps in the chat. Sorry about that, Sam.
No, you're good. So before I show this, probably there's some people who have heard the term providing liquidity, but I want to make it really, really simple. If you think of Robinhood, if you've heard of Robinhood or E-Trade or Ameritrade or Charles Schwab, like these are all brokerages. These brokerages make money when you trade, including Robinhood. They just sell your data. You know, that's still the same thing. So what ends up happening is people trade, say, between Apple, right? They have Apple, then they get cash, and then they buy Tesla, right? And then they sell that and they get into something else. And when they do this, this centralized entity makes the money, right? You can see, if you look at Coinbase, right? They had, before they last quarter where they lost money, before I think they made about $3 billion in a quarter. I mean, this is all going to one entity. Now, something like Uniswap is like Coinbase in the sense that it facilitates people to trade from A to B and B to C and back to A if they care to. But the difference is we can put the liquidity in there instead of Robinhood, instead of Coinbase, E-Trade putting the liquidity in there that allows somebody to swap back and forth between different stock. You can do this and you earn the fee. So instead of Robinhood earning the fee, you earn the fee. Now, if somebody thought this was interesting, there's something you want to consider. And GRC, you mentioned this at the intro, I think. Whatever you're providing liquidity on, you want to understand those two things. If it's Ethereum and Hex or USDC and Hex, you have to be okay with holding either token. Right? 100% in one or 100% in the other. Is it
fair to say that there's a better and worse times to do this stuff?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because if
like in a full on, like when everything's going bull market crazy, and again, guys, you don't want to do this with a large position of your stack at all. And hex staking was created for guys like me that like to have a little bit that they can't get their hands on for sure. Like I don't like to get my hands on too much. But again, having liquid funds, it's people have liquid funds. Like, what am I supposed to do? Keep all my money in the bank? Like, no, I got liquid funds and I need to be able to extract them. And I have ETH on like 6 different accounts. And I told you yesterday that I was thinking about maybe liquidating some of the, not just sending it all to one account and providing liquidity with some of
it's just sitting there, and might as well experience it, so you can experience it whether you decide to continue doing it or not doing it, right? Now there's something called impermanent loss, right? That people, it's just opportunity cost. That's all it is. You have an opportunity cost to fucking sit here, listen to us fucking talk. That's all it is. And if you look at, say, this example, USDC and Hex, and we have $10,000 position here. So currently, this is not mine. This is just an example with a calculator. The price is right here where this pink line is, right? Now, on Uniswap, you provide liquidity in a concentrated position, meaning within these green lines. So you're going to provide Hex to USDC. So you're willing to trade Hex, 17.85 Hex per 1 USD, or up to 30.12 Hex per 1 USD. Now, what happens if, say, this price rises outside of here? So this would be the Hex price moving, right? Because USDC is not moving. So Hex price moves here, and then what happens? So that means now you're stuck with all Hex, right? And I'm using the word stuck because it works in both effing directions. If Hex moves in the other direction, you are stuck with USDC. And you're like, well, I want Hex. Well, if you want Hex, then just fucking buy Hex and don't provide liquidity, right? It's pretty simple. But during this time, say this takes a month for this to happen.
Yeah, I have a lot of USDC.
So you could
it sits there. I have a lot of Hex stakes too, but other than my Hex stakes, pretty much I just have USDC is the bulk of what I have in there. And but I would be willing to buy more Hex and then provide liquidity for sure.
So and you get to earn.
What's it better to provide between ETH and Hex or USDC and Hex?
Depends on the individual's like prerogative. Like
my prerogative would be Mad Gans.
Probably ETH because they're
just
both volatile.
Yeah.
Yep. You're gonna probably earn
like having return. ETH as well. Like, yeah, I'm an Ethereum fan, guys. Like, believe it or not, like it doesn't matter what everyone says. Everyone has. I have had ETH in my account since the day I got into crypto. Period. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe there was a point where I transitioned out of it completely, but there's ETH in my account. Why? Same thing as the Pulse Chain thing. Because I used Hex and I wanted to use Hex in the future. So I always kept 2, 3, 4 Ethereum, less and more, depending on how much the rate was at the time, in my account overall. And it is just sitting there. Now, all this talk about getting wrecked is simply stupid. It's like you only get wrecked if you over leverage your positions. It's so to think you can protect everyone from like, it's just like, oh, don't play a video game every day for the rest of your life and not have a girlfriend. That's good advice, right, Sam? But do I have to fucking tell you that? No, because it's so fucking obvious. It's like, don't. To me, I'm a pleb. I would never do this with more than 10% of my position. And that's just me. Some people do it with all their position. Act Jack Levine. Jack Levine probably does it with 75% of his fucking position.
Because so some things that happen, right? So let's talk about the returns real quick and then the things that happen, right? Okay. So and then fees. So in the structuring this way, which means the price is right here. And it can travel anywhere from all the way over here to all the way over here. And you earn fees during this time period when it's here to here. Once it travels outside here, you're all in one. Once it travels outside here,
so right now you have the left line on what number for Ethereum? I mean, for
30 Hex. So this would be Hex goes down in price.
So that would be 3 cents roughly.
What is 30 Hex for?
It shows you right next to it. It shows you right next to the line.
Yeah. Okay, 3.3. Okay, it does.
Yeah, and then go to the other side. And that would be 5.5. So we could very well move out of that 5.5 position. Not definite at all. Not even close.
Okay, so good. You're just like, hey, actually, I think we might during this.
Yeah, I can see the pump. I can see it's a little aggravated right now, so it's a little inflated for sure.
And you be like, okay, 3.3 cents. That seems kind of low, or accurate, right? But
I'd like that side of it. I like the 3.3 side of it.
Okay, but say you were like, I actually would prefer 6.5, right? Well, I'd rather prefer 6 cents or 6.5 cents because this fake run right now I don't think this is going to last, but it could go up towards 6.5 cents. I think, right? And I'm not saying you guys should believe, like you guys should form your own fucking thoughts and decide for yourself, right? But say if somebody chose to think that Hex is going to get to 6.5 cents before there's another sell-off, right? So what you can do is you can come down over here and you can change this down, right? So you move that there. Now you're at 6.8, right? So you're going to provide liquidity between 6.7 cents of Hex and 3.3 cents of Hex, right? So you're going to provide liquidity between this and this. But you say if you put in $10,000, you're earning about $776 per month, or $26 a day.
And your worst case scenario is to end up with a one-sided bag of USDC or Hex, guys. That's the worst case scenario. It's the worst case scenario. Now I have to look up the risk profiles for bridges and shit, but that's as far. Other than that, I know a lot of people that provide liquidity on here that are absolutely rich and absolutely popular and absolutely dominating at everything they do. So it's just reality. Like, I hate, you can't do 100% of the shit with your bag just because someone else thinks that's the right way to do it. And if you think that's the right way to do it, then it's not true, because there's guys like me, there's guys like people lose their jobs. There's people that go homeless. There's people that have divorces. There's 1.5 million different reasons why people would need to extract funds. And this is a tool to do so. And that's it.
And what if somebody was like, hey, I do like Hex and I would like to build a bag of Hex. Well, cool.
Yeah, I only want to build Hex.
So say like you're like, hey, I only want to build a bag of Hex, and
say I'm already staked. I don't plan on staking for the next few months, but I want to get my liquid position up.
Yes. Okay, cool. And then when I get it to say 10,000 or 50,000 or 150,000 Hex, I'll take that and I'll put that away for another stake, and then I'll do this again. You can use liquidity providing to build your bag. Okay, so look at this. You earn $776 per month, right? So 776 divided by, I think it was around 4.5 cents right now for Hex price. So you earn 17,000 Hex, or 1 T-share per month almost. So you can build your bag this way. Peel off your $776, stake that shit into the fucking future, and you still have your liquid stuff. You still have your liquid bag. You can put this out into the future. Now, some things that you do, if you're not aware of or you don't notice until you start going, right? You put in $10,000. So what happens if you hold $10,000 of a risky asset? It goes up and down. So this $10,000 is not going to stay the same. You're holding Hex and USDC. That means Hex price could go down, right? If you were doing this with Ethereum, or if you're doing this with Cult, or if you're doing this with any two risky assets, this price is going to be volatile. And you might say, look, and be like, I earned $25, right? And then look back 3 minutes later and it says $24 or $22. And that's because the price of the underlying, the coin or coins, has fluctuated. So this number can go up or down because you're earning a percentage of the coin that's flowing back and forth. So in this example, we have 0.3%. I think it says it on here. All right, here. We're in this pool, right? So we're in the Hex USDC pool. When somebody trades their Hex for USDC, they pay a 0.3% fee. That fee is paid in Hex. So if somebody trades, say, 100,000 Hex and they're going to swap it for USDC, then what they end up paying is, let's see here, 100,000 times 0.003 0.003. They're going to pay 300 hex, right? So that goes into the pool and it's dispersed among those individuals. Now, say somebody else is like, I'd like to buy 50,000 hex, right? So then it goes in the other direction and they pay the fee in USDC. So while you're sitting here, this $776 is actually accruing hex. So every time you claim or you pull these funds off, you'd be like, okay, every $500, I'm going to pull this off, and I will either add it to my position or stake it for hex or whatever your fucking prerogative is, right? So you already have, this is automatically building your hex bag more than T-shares are doing, right? Because then you can take this and buy fucking T-shares, but you're earning $26 per day by doing this. And if you figure like, how much does it cost to a T-share is what costing you, depending on how long you stake into the future, 20,000 to maybe 15,000 hex, right? And this is earning per month around 17,000 hex. I mean, it's a much more efficient way of utilizing your capital to do this. Another thing, when you're providing liquidity, there is fees to do so. So you know how like the fees on Ethereum vary. Drop by to say hi and buy. What's good, Bullish?
And guys, just so you know, Bullish is going to be out of the office for a little while because he is going to do some stuff with his family and do some work stuff. So he is going to be in and out, but we love Bullish, so we just want to shout him out.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the heart right. There you go, Bullish.
And guys, real quick, I have an episode with Jack tonight. I dropped the YouTube link below. If you want to go over there and smash the like and give it a little biceps in the chat, we'll be on there later. Let everyone know about that. I'll be tweeting about that later for show.
Gary J, a lot of people don't realize this. That's why the returns are so high. This is why people with massive bags don't tell you to do this.
Exactly. That's called cutting through the fat a little bit. It's like dudes with fat bags do this with lots of their bags and they really like it. Sam, as someone who's been in the financial industry for a long time, what does this look like to you just from a totally non-biased perspective? Like nothing about crypto, nothing about this way that you're making money right now. You've made money in a million different ways. Right now, what does this opportunity feel like in the technology and in Uniswap in general? And what do you feel about this technology?
This, Gary, check out my channel. I have made several videos on this.
Drop the link.
Thank you. Okay. What is going on right now? Well, you can make 100% annually, right? 3x what you'd make in Hex, and you can still peel that off and put it into Hex, right? Well, what does this feel like? Back in 2019, TikTok became about. They purchased Musical.ly. ByteDance purchased Musical.ly, which was similar to TikTok, but they purchased it.
So there's a guy who purchased something that was already out at the time?
Yes, and there was an abundance of free attention. At one point, I got over 1,000 followers in a day, multiple times. That was the time where I was getting 5 million at the peak. I got 5 million views in a month on TikTok. And I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, this is not going to last. I'm doing 10 TikToks a day. And that's how I got up to, 55,000 followers on there. Now, this opportunity with Uniswap is the same thing. The same thing. This is not going to last. This is not going to last. If I told other people that you can earn 100% on your fucking shit and it's liquid, and you can continue to buy whatever you like. If you like Hex, then buy more fucking Hex, right? And you can do it while earning fees. Like, this opportunity is not going to last. Is it going to be 3 more months? No, I think it's going to be substantially longer than 3 months. But I guarantee you it's not going to last. Just like the TikTok attention that I was getting for free, the massive quantity of TikTok attention I was getting, right? 5 million eyeballs. 5 million is a lot in 1 month. And these returns on Uniswap are going to compress. They're going to come down over time as more people do this. They will come down. But we also have to take into consideration the market's growing at the same time. And that's why I'm sharing this up, because I'm like, this is stupid. Like, it doesn't even make sense for me to Hex for for me to stake Hex at this point. Like I can just build giant bags of liquid Hex this way and stake it in as I see fit. Now peel off a tiny bit and stake that in the future, because it's for me. And I'm not saying you guys should do any of the things that I do. This is like what allows you to really ramp up your shit a lot faster than you could otherwise, right? Like it just this, and I know this opportunity is not going to last. This is not going to be here forever, right?
Yeah,
So
but
I'm
we're gonna have
taking
more
advantage of this.
we're gonna have more opportunities as well. Because if you think about the learning curve for Uniswap, think about the learning curve for PulseX, since it's just another deeper layer. Like, is it just more of a buy wall, right? Not more of a buy wall, but more of a learning wall. Like, you know about Ethereum before you know about Pulse Chain for now. Like, you don't know about Pulse Chain if you don't know about Ethereum, period. End of story. So I think it's important to know, like, as of right now, like, there's going to be crazy. That's why doing this on the test net is something that you should, if you don't want to teach people about providing liquidity, if you don't want to teach people about impermanent loss, if you don't want to teach people that you can do it for free on the test net and you don't support knowledge, then you can just disregard all this information. But if you do support doing stuff for free that can give you huge advantages in your life and that can give you the real alpha in crypto is this kind of shit. Like, it's like, yeah, you want to protect 90% of your bag if you're smart. Yeah, impermanent loss is just having one side of the bag. If you if you sell, and if you don't like the coin. So if you sell, yeah, if I have $5,000 in USDC and I sell it and Hex goes to the moon, yeah, that is impermanent loss forever. But that's not how people do it. You know, they keep two sides of the bag that they would have either way.
And so when you go, I completely agree with that. It was a good statement. That's why I wanted to pull that up there, because permanent loss is just an opportunity cost. That's it. It's an opportunity,
and that's
cost
only if you sell. It's only if you sell. It's only opportunity cost if you don't like US dollar and you didn't plan on having any.
Correct. Yes. Correct.
Who doesn't plan on having US dollar?
Yes.
You have to have it to transact in worlds. In the world, I need that. That's the only thing I actually need, and it's like I'm going to keep some of that.
Yes. Red Squirrel thinks this opportunity is right now is going to bite you in the ass. Good, cool. Let it fucking do that, bro. I'm happy. Don't do it. The more you guys don't do it,
though?
It doesn't. People just don't understand it.
I don't understand. Red Squirrel, like, just give us a little example. Can you just give us like a little thought out example of like how specifically this will bite him in the ass? The only way that you could say it would is if the Hex price goes to the moon, which Sam's under the impression that we're going to be down until there's major signs of going up, I'm sure. Major signs, macro signs. I'm not under the impression that Hex is going to go up in a macro nightmare. And if it does, that would be revolutionarily dope, because I have a fuck ton of stakes. And a little goes a long way with Hex. Bottom is in Rick Schmitz's opinion, and the founder of the coin that we're talking to literally tells us every day the bottom's not in. Literally, the founder of the coin that I run this fucking show, like started the show around, is telling us that there's going to be a 50% dump in the biggest blue chip asset on crypto. And yes, we have seen things dump before and then Hex do stuff different, but again, never in the macro conditions that we have now. The macro conditions are get your fucking money out now. That's what the macro conditions are. All risk on assets are getting sold. And all liquid risk on assets will get sold if we dump down again.
Yes. And okay. So the last thing here before we wrap things up, if somebody was like curious about doing it, and so this is the Uniswap, right? You go through, connect your wallet. You can't see it's popping up my MetaMask or a MetaMask over here, where I'm going to punch in my password. And once you connect to the dApp, the Uniswap dApp, it's like, oh, your shit's connected. Cool. Okay. Now you go to pool, right? And then in pool, you're going to press new position. So say we wanted to provide the same thing that we were just considering. So we click that, and then we're going to look up Hex. So we're going to pull up Hex here, and it looks like it's just loading really, really, really slow. Yep. I don't know why this is not coming up. There we go. Whoops. Once this does come up, you can pick the tier. So the tier is the fee tier, right? This is the most common, right? This says 80% of the time this is selected. this is the most common that people are going to be trading in. And then you can set whatever range you want here, which would be like the price of Hex. If you want to go through and calculate it out, hey, what's the price of Hex I'm willing to sell it at? What's the price of Hex I'm willing to sell it at this side, right? In both sides of this. And then you're going to put in how much of each. So say this is just like a fake wallet. So there's 10 Hex in there. So it's like, okay, you can put in 10 Hex, and that would be at these ratios. It's going to be $1.50 of USDC you're going to put in between these two. And you're not going to be putting in 50% and 50%. That's what a lot of people think. But the only way you're going to put in 50% of each is if this right here is exactly in the center between these two. Then you're going to put in 50% of both of these, or whatever the case is. And I don't even think this is actually quite in the center. But that's the only way you're going to actually go through and do that. So hopefully this is helpful for some people. If it was, make sure you press that like button. We're going to be on later today with Jack talking longevity shit, which would be super interesting. He's got a lot of cool stuff out there to talk about. You have any closing thoughts here?
Yeah, my closing thoughts are, guys, yes, if Hex pumps you lose out, why not consider my previous post, e.g. base/Hex, the premium discount range will be tight. Well, yeah, no, those are great options for people that want liquid funds, for sure. But people sell their shit, like you got to sell. People sell Hex, correct? Red Squirrel, correct. Okay, so when people sell their Hex, what's the best way to do it? Providing LP.
Yes.
It's the best way to do it for every party. So if you got, again, these biases that people hold in their head because of overall information that they hear is very strong, but you have to know how early we are. People are just doing this talkies. They're doing the talkies. They've had years and years and experience doing other shit. Jim Rat doesn't know anything about finance. Everything I say is exactly what I'm learning.
When you're done, sorry, go ahead.
And I mean, I do know about finance, but you know what I mean? Like, I've learned through crypto, so it's very easy for me to see what people are just super biased about, because I'm like, this shit doesn't even exist for me. It's like someone telling me to whip out the checkbook. It's like, I don't even know what the fuck that is.
How I see like this type of thinking, right? Because it's, and I'm not trying to give Red Squirrel a hard time. Like if you are looking at things like you're losing out because of a decision you made, right? I hear that people talk about this, like when they get out of a relationship, like, I wasted all this fucking time, right? Instead of fucking learning and moving on in your life, right? If you made the decision to provide liquidity and Hex goes up and you didn't fucking understand that, whose fault is that? If that was a concern for you, or you felt like you couldn't emotionally deal with that, I mean, like, I'm just saying, not for like everybody. If you make a decision and you're not able to live with that decision because of whatever mental issues or things people are holding on to, then you shouldn't do this, right? But you also should consider that those mental things are going to slow down in the process of life, right? Because there's mental things that are going to slow you down. Everything that you do is an opportunity.
Yeah, you can't be sad about shit. Like you just can't. There's no time to be sad about shit. Like just try to get some stuff done and move on with your life. Like, yeah, there's going to be things that happen that are major along the way that you're going to have to deal with, but just use everything as an opportunity to get better instead of just being a sponge for like negative emotion. It's like everyone just wants to hide instead of just being like, everything's, sometimes it sucks, sometimes it's good, but I'm just going to keep working. You know what I mean? I'm going to just try to keep my side of the street clean. That's all you can do. If your side of the street is clean, you cannot fail, because you cannot be misled and you cannot, but most people don't keep their shit clean. They lie. They say things they wish they didn't, and then they hold on to them forever until it ruins them. I'm not talking about fucking Saitama V3. I'm not talking about none of that dumb shit. I'm talking about stuff like this, providing liquidity on a decentralized exchange that we all use already between the two coins that we already have. And people are going to call me stupid and say that it's wrecking people. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense.
Like you have liquid USDC, you have liquid Hex sitting in your bag, not doing dick for you. Why not just put it to work for you? Right? Why not just make it work for you? But that's my points, my thoughts on that thing. Hopefully this is helpful for people.
If Ethereum goes to 2K, I'm selling it all, guys. Everybody have a great day. It's your boy, GRC. We'll be back at 6 p.m. Eastern, guys, with Jack Levin, 21st employee at Google ever, to talk about longevity, living a better life, and having peace in the day-to-day so you can be more effective while you're dominating the crypto space. Guys, have a great one.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some Hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some Hedge and I'm making it rain. Pay me some Maxi and that's just in case. Gym ready sent me to show you the way.